we talked a lot about the promo. There was another promo for WrestleMania that dropped yesterday, more focused on Roman. The first one I felt was focused on Brock. The one that they dropped last night was focused on Roman. And we talked about the Vision. The one thing that I did not see coming was what we saw last night with Logan Paul. I like the way they started the show with Logan Paul and then how they finished with Logan Paul. What did you think about Logan Paul's role throughout Monday Night Raw last night?
I enjoyed the thread throughout the show. I don't remember there being a middle part of the show with Logan Paul. I think it was just the beginning of the end, but I liked the way they opened it, and I liked the way it closed it. When it came to Logan Paul only, you know, when Logan had that, you saw the look in his eye, whether or not he should go back to the ring and help out, and they kind of planted the seed right then and there that something was going to happen on later in the night. And something did happen later on in the night. But to me, it was about the execution. Yes, when Logan Paul was standing next to CM Punk across from the Vision, you kind of knew that it was going to happen, but I love the way Punk played it off. Punk is protecting Jey Uso. He's standing there with a chair in his hands against two other very big men with chairs in their hands. Punk knows that he's about to get his ass kicked. Either he's getting clobbered with a chair or Jey Uso's getting clobbered with a chair. All of a sudden, Logan Paul slides in. This is like one of those split-second moments where you have to make a decision. Here's CM Punk standing there. Now, all of a sudden, I got Logan Paul standing directly to my left. Like, what the hell is going on? I got to look at him and acknowledge him, but I can't take my eyes off the Vision, because if I take my eyes off the Vision, they're going to crack me with the chair, and they're going to get to Jey, who I'm trying to protect. But Logan Paul's standing right there. Do I trust this guy? Do I not trust this guy? This guy's a piece of garbage. And then the Nux. Wait, holy shit, he just put Nux on him. This is split-second decision-making from CM Punk. And Punk just for a second, when he turns his head back to the Vision, wham! That's when Logan Paul does the dirty work. And Logan Paul threw a great punch. They shot it perfectly, and Punk sold it perfectly. That's how you would crumble to the ground if you just got knocked out in general, let alone had a pair of steel brass knucks dragged across your chin. And that was it. And you heard the reaction from the crowd. So he drops Punk laying there face down. Logan Paul just standing there. A couple of months ago, Dave, we talked about, I don't remember who it was, but I talked about how much I love this segment because nobody moved. It was actually the Vision segment. It was actually right after Braun Breaker speared Seth Rollins. It was the lack of movement right after the spear that I liked so much, because everybody got a chance to soak in what had just happened. And it was the lack of movement that spoke volumes to me then, and it was the lack of movement after the Nux shot last night that spoke volumes to me. Now, all of a sudden, the Vision are looking at Logan Paul like, whoa, we might like you. And then Heyman, with the look of shock on his face, as if I didn't see this coming either. I'm the Oracle, and Oracle can see into the future. I mean, we've learned that from The Matrix. You know, an Oracle is supposed to be all-knowing, see into the future. Not even the almighty Oracle Paul Heyman could see this one coming. And he gets in the ring and he tells the Vision, no, stand down, don't move, don't do nothing. Let's see what's going to go on here. And then as Logan Paul gets closer with the Nux, and he says, if he never takes his eyes off of Logan Paul, but he says loud enough so the Vision can hear, if he hits me, if he touches me, kill him. That's great stuff last night.
It really was.
That is great. The finish of the match was flat. Nobody wants a double count out to finish that kind of tag team match where there was the animosity brewing throughout the night. You get the double DQ, the people are like, the air kind of gets let out of the room, but then you know you got the strong aftermath and story coming, and they got the people all back. And as of this morning, the question now is Logan Paul a new member of the Vision?
Yeah, and that's something that we probably never really discussed. I mean, when we talked about names that could be a part of this, because we're looking forward to coming to the end of the month with Survivor Series and War Games. Well, how are you going to build that War Games match? Well, they might be just to have recruited Logan Paul for that match. And I want to go back to the opening segment of the show, Bully, for a second, because it goes back to what you were just saying about CM Punk. If this was 6 or 7 years ago, creatively, they would have had CM Punk help Logan Paul up and then him holding him up. But that's not what happened in the opening segment. CM Punk has no reason, even though Logan Paul hit the ring, CM Punk has no reason to trust Logan Paul. Thus, when Logan Paul was laid out, you know, what did CM Punk do? It looked like he was going to go help Logan Paul, but he picked up the championship title and walked out of the ring. And I was like, thank God they did that. Because, like I said, 6 or 7 years ago, they would have had CM Punk pick up Logan Paul. There's no reason for CM Punk to do that. Zero. So I loved how they did that. And I love, like what you said later on in the night after the main event, where CM Punk just glanced over at Logan Paul to see if he truly did have his back when he put those brass knuckles on.
And if I could get into the mind of CM Punk at that moment in time, I don't think even CM Punk trusted Logan Paul right then and there. But he was between a rock and a hard place. And it's kind of like the ending of The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. It's a three-way showdown. Actually, it's the Vision. There's Logan Paul. There's CM Punk. Somebody's eating a bullet. Somebody's gonna get shot. Somebody's gonna do the shooting, and there's only gonna so CM Punk doesn't really know what to do, and that's it. Might have been very, very subtle, but it screamed out to me that Punk didn't have time to really think. Here's Logan Paul standing beside me. Why is he standing beside me? Should I crack him with a chair? But I didn't bother to pick him up earlier. Now he's putting on Nux. Wait, is he by my side? Let me look at the Vision, and before you know it, bang, he gets dropped. Yep. Loved it. I tweeted last night, all they remember is the finish. And I'm not talking about the finish of the match, which left people a bit underwhelmed. I'm talking about the finish of the show and the angle they went off the air with.
And, Bully, you're so right. When that show was over, the last thing I was thinking about was the double count out. And listen, there's nothing wrong with having a double count out. There's nothing wrong with that, but you did it. It took the air out of the building. You felt it. You heard it, watching at home. But you also knew that probably something else was going to happen, and we got something big to end that show last night. And again, you said it, Bully, and you always say it when it comes to things like this, Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman makes it so much better and takes the segment to a completely different level. I love the fact that, Paul Heyman really didn't know what was going on. He kept his eyes on Logan Paul the entire time. And you're right. It's like, if he hits me, kill him. Because in that moment, Paul Heyman didn't know what Logan Paul was about to do. Because look what happened, 2.5 hours ago at the beginning of that show. I loved it. I love, and you're getting it a lot with the WWE right now, where you're watching it and you can't predict what's about to happen. You really don't know. I had no idea we were going to see Logan. When CM Punk, and we'll get into CM Punk and him addressing the crowd last night, the last person I would have guessed that would have come out would have been Logan Paul. But it worked perfectly. And you know what? If Logan Paul is a part of the Vision, you know what? That's a pretty damn good addition to the Vision that I never guessed would have happened, Bully.
Logan Paul is a great go-to heater. that doesn't have to be involved in any one particular storyline. If you insert Logan Paul anywhere with any babyface, he's going to get heat and he's going to be hated. That is very, very rare in professional wrestling these days. A heel that is hated no matter what. Now, I'm not talking about the type of heel that I want the pro wrestling business to build from day one. Like I gave an example of Jasper Troy in NXT with his look, building a credible killer from day one with that guy's look, his ability, the whole 9 yards. Logan Paul came in with a ton of heat. He's that guy that you just want to see him get punched in the face by anybody at any given time. Perfect guy to come out last night. CM Punk wins at Saturday night's main event. We're like, okay, Punk won. Maybe we didn't necessarily want to see a definitive champion at this time. What WWE did in putting the strap on Punk, nothing wrong with that. All right, who's going to be the first guy for Punk? Bang. The minute Logan Paul comes out, the boo birds kick in. Instant heat. We're not even concerned that this is not an angle we want to see. We just want, what did Punk say in his promo? I'm here to make money, I'm here to win championships, and I want to punch a couple of people in the face. If there's anybody in the WWE that you want to see just get punched in the face, it's Logan Paul.
It's funny, though, like, he hooked you, though. For a moment, like, you're, wait, are they changing Logan Paul here? Is Logan Paul going to go on? Is he turning babyface in front of our eyes at the beginning of the show? You should know better. And I love how they did the old okey doke at the end of the show. But that's how good Logan Paul is, that he can hook you like that. Not everybody could do that, Bully.
Over the past year or so, I have spent some time with the guys and gals on the main roster. And I can tell you from what I've seen and what I've heard, Logan Paul is very much accepted by the locker room because of his ability, his willingness, and when that red light is on, that mother trucker can perform. So he's getting the job done. Is he the greatest wrestler in the world? But he works very hard to get the things that he does correct. And listen, Logan Paul brings a lot to the table as far as his fan base, the amount of people who follow him on Instagram and look at the product placement with the Prime and all that stuff. So Logan Paul has to be able to get something out of this also. So the wrestling matches that Logan Paul does have, he's doing a lot of spectacular stuff in, which gets him more views. With Logan Paul, I don't need a wrestling match. I need Logan Paul to go out there and do what he does best. Excitement, and I want to see him get his ass kicked.
We don't know. Is he a part of the Vision? It looks like they're going in that direction, but who knows, Bully? Next week, it could go in a completely different direction that we don't see because I didn't see this coming. And that's when wrestling's at its best, when you don't see it coming. And I didn't see that at all going into last night.
The one negative I can see with Logan Paul being associated with the Vision is Logan Paul captures people's attention. Mm-hmm. If there's attention on Logan Paul, there's less attention on Braun and Bronson. That's just if Logan Paul is going to be a definitive third member of the Vision. But they got Paul Heyman there, and he can make just about anything work. And maybe we see Logan Paul become a part of the Vision, and the other guys don't take too kindly to that and beat the shit out of it. Who knows? Once again, what they did last night gives them storyline options, which they can go in any direction with.
And listen, this might just be to get us to War Games. Like, War Games is coming up at the end of the month. Now, traditionally, War Games is 5-on-5. There have been times, I think in NXT, it was 4-on-4. If I'm guessing in this scenario, it would probably be 4-on-4, but it could be 5-on-5. But it's fun that we're 3 weeks away, a little over 3 weeks away from Survivor Series. I don't know what the War Games match is going to be as of right now. Like there has to be some added members on both sides if it's going to be the Vision going up against a babyface team at Survivor Series. I would have to think that's the way they're going to go for Survivor Series.
I mean, just by what we saw last night, we could see the Vision and Logan Paul being on one side, Punk, Jay, maybe Jimmy, maybe Roman on the other side. There's your 4 guy. If there's a 5th guy, whatever, I don't know who that 5th guy would be. We could see that play out. But yes, that's what they're building to. They're building towards War Games. They have a huge stadium show going on in San Diego at Survivor Series, and they got to get They got to get people interested in it.
Let's just say it's Braun, it's Bronson, and it's Logan Paul. Who would you like to see be that 4th member to finish that War Games faction off? I mean, there's got to be at least a 4th guy.
No, without a doubt, there's got to be a 4th guy, maybe even 5.
I mean, the first one that comes to mind is Brock. Do you have Brock come back for Survivor Series?
I mean, it's not bad. They're being very particular with Brock right now. Very particular, and I like that they're doing that because it's going to mean more. Yesterday, you threw out a scenario in which Brock is the guy in 2026 over there. Do we want Brock in a Survivor Series match? I like the idea of Brock and Roman on opposite sides. I don't see Brock playing well with others, but it is a Heyman team, and and Heyman did say to Brock, "We need to talk." If I had to give you an answer whether or not I would like to see Brock on that team, yes.
Okay. Also, we did kind of see Heyman plant a seed in Jey Uso's head. When Jey Uso's like, I don't care about my family. I don't care about Jimmy. Like, it's about me. When he was talking about, hey, I lost fair and square to Punk. He's got my respect. He beat me man on man. And Heyman's like, well, Roman wouldn't say that. And basically Jey Uso's like, screw Roman. This is about me. And it felt like the answer that Jey gave almost was going into what Heyman wanted to hear from Jey Uso. And again, we see Heyman with the big smile on his face. I mean, they've been teasing it for a while, and you are hearing more and more boos for Jey Uso. Could we see a drastic change in Jey over the next couple of weeks?
Of course you can, and we've been talking about this for a while. I mean, he does what he did to his brother in the Battle Royal, then he apologizes to him. We see looks on Jey's face at times which screams heel.
Yes.
Paul is a master manipulator of getting what he wants or getting information. Paul's not afraid to throw a line in the water just to see the kind of reaction that he's going to get out of somebody. And Paul might not be looking for a specific answer, but he might be looking about how the demeanor in which Jey answers or the tone in which Jey answers. This is all just good, character and story stuff. But to me, what I'd like to see is, let me try to say this the way I don't want to confuse anybody. Back in the day, I'm just going to go Attitude Era. I definitively knew what everybody's emotions were just about, or demeanor was every week. I knew what we were getting from certain people. I knew what their direction was. I knew what their MO was. I know what their thought process was. I wasn't confused. Sometimes I do get a little confused by the back and forth of some of the characters, especially with. I see you nodding in approval. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I do. It's you don't usually see it go on for this length of time to this degree, and I'm just wondering, Bully, and I know in professional wrestling and professional sports, injuries happen. Like, did that injury to Seth Rollins set off a ripple effect that it's affected things even more than what we think they may have affected it?
Sure. Of course it does. Seth was the guy. He was the champion. I mean, do we think? Do you think that we're going to have Punk the number one contender and beat Seth Rollins on Saturday night's main event?
No. I do not think CM Punk was going to be winning the World Heavyweight Championship on Saturday night's main event if Seth Rollins was still healthy.
So then that goes to answer your question that yes, it's through a major monkey wrench into things. But like I want to know where people stand. Like, I don't like to be confused by my characters. Every once in a while, it's okay for them to go in a different direction. But even with, let's just take Braun Breaker. Every once in a while, Braun seems to go into business for himself where you're like, wait a minute, is he not listening to what Heyman said? And then he's back on track. With a character like him, I want to see him be Braun Breaker every single week. I knew Austin is always my barometer. Austin only went off the rails once Steve Austin was over. Once that character was over to a certain degree, then Austin would start to play around with different directions of the character. And I think that's what I'm trying to say. What were you going to say?
No, I was going to say it's weird that in the WWE right now, even like tag teams that are together, it feels like they're all on shaky ground. Like it feels like at any moment, like they could break apart. And there seems to be some kind of friction between them. It's very odd. Like, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying it's bad at all. It actually keeps you on your toes as a fan. It keeps you guessing. But it feels like right now, like nothing seems to be on firm ground right now.
I don't want to guess so much. But if somebody from WWE Creative was on the show right now, they would be like, well, you just answered what we're trying to do. We're keeping you on your toes. Okay, fine, but not with so many people. I don't want to be scratching my head with so many people. Like, I know there's going to be... Can you think of anybody in the past that we can kind of compare this to where we weren't quite sure what direction they were going in on a weekly basis?
Not to this extent. It's not jumping to my brain right now. Not to this extent.
Well, and creative would probably say, well, this is new. We're keeping you on your toes so much with so many different characters. I don't want it with that many characters. I want my good guys to be my good guys and my bad guys to be my bad guys. And then pick one or two where I'm not quite sure. And I think that's going on the most to me with Jey Uso and Braun Breaker, where I'm just not sure.
It's almost like with Jey Uso, the fans want to boo him, but they also want to cheer him. With Braun Breaker, they want to boo him, but at times it feels like they want to cheer him. And I'm not just talking about like Seth Rollins, when we talked about Seth Rollins, a few months back about the entrance, where the entrance gets you up and then eventually you're going to boo. No, it's the actual character themselves that they do enough that makes you want to boo them, but they also do just enough to make you continue to want to cheer them. And there's a lot of that going on in the WWE right now.
To each his own. If it's working for you, then good. For the most part, it's working for me. Sometimes it gets a little confusing.